introduce Gina Pollara to the stage. Okay.
Thank you, Fred, for that very generous introduction. I'm honored to be standing here tonight as the new president of the Municipal Art Society. I want to thank our chairman and the dedicated members of the board for placing their trust in me and for their staunch commitment to MAS and the principles it upholds. I'm indebted to the long line of MAS presidents, most recently Vince Cipolla, who have shepherded this organization through more than a century of action on behalf of New York. And I'm going to make a shout out there to Kent and Margot. Thank you. I also want to thank the Ford Foundation for generously allowing us to use this beautiful space for tonight's annual meeting. I don't know if you've discovered the ashtrays and the armrests of your chairs, but there'll be no smoking tonight. But most of all, I want to thank you, our members, for your continued support. We could not do all that we do without you. For more than a century, MAS has been the civic conscience for New York's built environment. I first became aware of MAS when I was an architecture student at the Cooper Union here in New York City. The Urban Center was one of the only places to go if you were passionate about the city and the decisions that shape it. MAS was the hub where everyone gathered to learn and to exchange views about planning, preservation, and the urban landscape. It attracted people from every sector of the city, and all those voices came together under one tent. More important, it gave people a voice in shaping the city and a responsibility to shepherd what it became. In this, its 123rd year, the advocacy MAS is known for is needed now more than ever. Our city is under enormous pressures. Our population has leapfrogged expectations and is now at levels that were predicted for the year 2020. Our growth patterns have shifted. From 2010 to 2015, Brooklyn saw the greatest rise in population, followed by the Bronx and Queens. Manhattan's population rose only just above Staten Island's. We've also seen an unprecedented rise in tourism. A record number of people, 58.3 million, visited New York in 2015, and 2016 is on track to exceed that. Add to this the number of commuters that enter the city each day, and we have a huge stress on the already inadequate resources we have. At stake is not just our quality of life, but the continued vitality of the city. If it becomes impossible to get around, if businesses can't afford workspace and residents can't afford our rents, if the city can't function, it will have no future. Our political leaders are focused on changes that can be effected within a single election cycle. Developers are concerned with their bottom line, but MAS is free from such constraints. We're able to take the long view and analyze the issues by the impacts they will have on the daily lives of New Yorkers for generations. The debate over the future of Penn Station, which Fred previewed earlier, is a microcosm of these pressures. Even in the context of our overstressed transportation system, the numbers at Penn Station are astounding. It was designed to serve 200,000 people a day, and it now serves 650,000 daily riders, more than JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark airports combined. We were pleased to see the governor telegraphing his attention and commitment to fixing the infrastructure emergency at Penn when he released his request for proposals in January. But infrastructure investments aren't about plugging short-term holes that are apparent today. They're investments in the future. Recently, we had to consider the possibility that the final leg of City Tunnel number 3 might not be funded. That project, indeed the whole construction of our entire water supply, has a lot to teach us. That system has been under continuous construction since 1835, with a very brief hiatus during World War II. When most of the engineers involved spent their entire lives dedicated to a project they would never see completed, for generations of people they would never know, for a city they could not imagine. They were focused on what had to be done today to ensure a livable, successful future for tomorrow. And that commitment is at the heart of what MAS has advocated for since its inception. At its beginning, its mission was really somewhat modest: to beautify the city's public spaces with monuments that would also serve to educate its residents. But over the course of its long history, MAS has continually enlarged its mission to address the most pressing issues confronting the city without abandoning its core conviction that the built environment plays the most fundamental role in ennobling civic life. We are all aware of the enormous pressures facing our city: our deficient transportation network, the ever-increasing population, the exorbitant rents, the need to attract and keep workers and businesses, the loss of neighborhood shops and neighborhood character, super tall buildings going up as of right, the shortage of public space that drives us to sit in the streets. And yet, we know that every generation before us faced equivalent pressures, that they too felt the urgency and concern that we feel. For the last 123 years, there has been one constant: a municipal art society that has reinvented itself to respond to the changing needs of an ever-evolving city without abandoning its core principles. Now we must devise new tactics and new strategies to confront these challenging times, while remaining steadfast in our mission. I'm united with the board in its commitment to our important history of advocacy. If you take nothing else away this evening, I want to leave you with this: whether it's pushing for the responsible fiscal stewardship of city-owned assets, urging adherence to the public process, arguing for the importance of transparency in the transfer of air rights, or any of the other myriad issues we are facing, MAS intends to be a strong and forceful leader. It has been said that the city is civilization's greatest contribution to the world. Nature gave us fields and plants, but human ingenuity gave us cities, and it is only human agency that can improve them. Effective advocacy is in the DNA of this organization. Advocacy and the deep conviction that great architecture and great cities fundamentally alter for the better the way we all live and relate to each other. That is why what MAS does is so critically important to the future of New York. I'm grateful to join such a terrific staff and want to thank them for all the hard work they do each day and for the enormous effort they put into bringing tonight's event together. I'm honored to lead an organization that has done so much for New York. There is much work ahead. I invite new alliances and old partners to join us to amplify our efforts and strengthen our plans. With the help of our membership, we will continue to be a voice for intelligent planning and the responsible stewardship of this amazing city we all call home. Thank you. Now, I'm honored to turn the stage over to one of MAS's longest-running awards. The Brendan Gill Prize was established in 1987 by fellow MAS board members Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, Helen Tucker, and Margot Wellington, to honor the creator of a building, book, essay, musical composition, play, film, painting, sculpture, choreographic work, or landscape design accomplished in the previous year that best captures the energy, vigor, and verve of our incomparable city. Past recipients of the Gill Prize include Kara Walker, Michael Kimmelman, Louis Kahn, John Morse, Michael Van Valkenburg, and the architect of this building, Kevin Roche. Our 2016 honorees will take a special place alongside this esteemed list of dreamers and creators. To present the 28th Annual Brendan Gill Prize, we are joined by Gill Prize jurors Suketu Mehta, Randy Borscheit, and Simone Levinson. Suketa, will you please come forward?